In the sun-kissed cradle of Rome's African provinces, a forbidden faith took root, a belief whispered in shadows and nourished by blood and fire. From the 2nd to the 5th century AD, the land we now call Algeria became an unexpected furnace of Christian thought. A place that would forge some of the most influential scholars in the faith's history, including the towering figure of Saint Augustine of Hippo. But this was no peaceful conversion. It was a story etched in sorrow, of martyrs who faced the lion's roar under the brutal reigns of emperors like Decius and Diocletian. Imagine the tension, the fear. Believers gathered in hidden catacombs, their faces illuminated by the faint, desperate glow of oil lamps. The air, heavy with incense, also carried the distant sounds of the arena, a chilling reminder of the price of their devotion. Each sermon was a victory snatched from despair, each baptism a defiant act against an empire that demanded absolute loyalty to its gods. This new faith created deep divides. Families wept for sons and daughters fed to beasts in the public games, their crime being a refusal to renounce their beliefs. Social bonds, once strong, were fractured by the cruel hand of conviction. Yet, in the darkness of the catacombs, new communities were forged in fire, their walls inscribed with the names of the faithful, a testament to their unyielding spirit. This was the world that shaped Augustine. Before he was a saint, he was a young man from Thagast, his hands trembling as he clutched forbidden scrolls, his mind a battlefield of doubt. We can almost see him in his study in Hippo, the lamp's flicker dancing in his eyes, mixed with tears of uncertainty. The wind whistling through the window seemed to carry whispers of grace. But also the echoes of Manichaean dualism, a philosophy that both tempted and terrified him. Augustine wrestled with his own sins, his heart pounding with the weight of his confessions. His journey wasn't just intellectual, it was a deeply personal, agonizing struggle, a constant battle against the despair that threatened to consume him. Each word he wrote, each step he took towards the city of God, was a triumph over his own inner darkness. The spread of this new religion radiated outwards from the great city of Carthage, a hub of both Roman power and Christian martyrdom. The fiery Latin prose of Tertullian, another son of North Africa, had already set the stage, articulating a faith that was uncompromising and powerful. He asked, "What has Athens to do with Jerusalem?" His words were not just theology, they were a declaration of a new world order, where the cross would challenge and ultimately replace Jupiter's thunder. Basilicas began to rise where pagan temples once stood, grand structures built on the foundations of a faith tested in the crucible of persecution. But we must never forget the cost. The ground beneath those magnificent churches was soaked in the silent screams of those who perished in the arena sands. By the 5th century, Christianity had reached its zenith in North Africa. It was a beacon of intellectual and spiritual light, its influence felt across the entire Roman Empire. Augustine's Hippo was a center of learning, its churches thriving, its theology shaping the very future of Western thought. But this golden age was tragically fragile. The light that shone so brightly was soon to be dimmed. The Vandal invasions swept across the coast, bringing with them a new wave of conflict and destruction. Churches were razed, communities were scattered, and the intricate network of faith and learning began to wither. The interconnected dreams of a unified Christian North Africa were shattered. Families who had found solace and community in their faith were now forced into tearful exile, mourning the loss of their homes, their churches, and their way of life. The land itself seemed to weep with the departure of its children. This era of the fragile cross, which had risen from so much sorrow, ended in a new wave of heartache. The story became a lament for what was lost, a testament to how quickly even the strongest foundations can crumble beneath the weight of history. The departure of these communities left a profound void, a silence that echoed through the ruins of once great cities. So what remains today? The catacomb crosses have crumbled into relics. The grand basilicas are now ancient stones whispering to the wind. Does the ghost of Augustine still wander the forsaken sands of Hippo, contemplating the rise and fall of his city of God? One is left to wonder if the desert itself summoned this faith, drawing it out of the arid earth, only to reclaim it in time. Or perhaps the buried amphitheaters hide more than just the bones of martyrs. Perhaps they hold pagan curses that, over centuries, finally shattered the weary hold of the cross. The Christian soul of ancient Algeria, though now a shadow of its former self, endures in these questions and in the haunting beauty of the ruins. The full story of its spread, the true depth of its sorrow and the fierce brightness of its light, remains partly veiled, a silent cry of lost lions and fallen dreams. As we look upon the ruins of Hippo, we are left with a lingering question, one that hangs in the dry desert air: what untold heartaches still guard the memory of the cross in these ancient lands? This history is a powerful reminder of the cycles of faith and empire, of triumph and loss. What are your thoughts on this forgotten chapter of history? Share your reflections in the comments below. Thank you for joining me on this journey. If you found this story compelling, please like, subscribe, and follow for more explorations into the hidden corners of our past.